right, we're going to Mexico. So this is a movie that, one, is batshit insane. And for every The Thing and Halloween and Evil Dead 2 and Dawn of the Dead, not Dawn, Day. Why did I say Dawn? Dawn 2, but much more Day. For all those masterpiece horror movies for me that I've watched so many times in my life, there's a few hidden gem masterpieces that I don't watch often. But since I started the channel, this is a movie I wanted to talk about for sure. And this is Alejandro Jodorowsky's Sangre from 1989. I see 89 and 90, so I'm going with 89 because that's usually what it is, the earlier year. And if I recall correctly, this is a production between Mexico and Italy. And Jodorowsky was approached by Claudio Argento, who was the brother of Dario, obviously, and had produced many of Argento's films for him. And he brought this idea to Jodorowsky or somebody, and then they brought it to him, something like that. But you see this movie labeled as like avant-garde type horror, and I can see it. Like, this is definitely an out there movie. Like, it's really out there, but it's so stylish, and it's such a great, like, psychological dive into this kid Fenix and the life that he had to live in this circus. Anyone who hasn't seen this movie, it's about a child, well, a guy, and we get flashbacks of his life growing up in a circus. And he had a very religious mother who could be very overbearing and a little bit jealous. A little bit. And just I don't want to say a complete dirtbag of a father, but close. Like, this guy was cheating on his mother, his wife, is borderline abusive to the kid, to Fenix. So yeah, I mean, both of these parents are not great. And just to see this story unfold and see all the shit that this kid had to live through and had to see with his young eyes, and how it affected him so much to the state that he's in at the beginning of this movie, and as he goes on in the present day for this film. But this is a movie you don't hear talked about that much, and that's a shame, because this movie is a near masterpiece for me. I just don't watch it often. I think I've seen this twice. So this is going to be interesting as hell. But there are some amazing scenes in this movie, and there is some great gore in this movie, and great kills. And if you haven't seen Sangre, it's on Tubi. Go watch it now. Then come back. Do that. Trust me. Because it's a movie you have to experience for sure. But let's talk Sangre from 1989. We are back in time at the Circo del Gringo in Mexico. I love the score in this too. Like, there is a lot of like mariachi type, like Mexican band music, but like the tribal, like congas, percussion type stuff sounds very similar to Argento, like in Suspiria. Like, not the main theme, but like the real, like, jungle feeling type thing, if you know what I'm talking about. Very similar feel here, and it's used awesomely throughout this whole movie. Oh, he's a little midget, dwarf, the dwarf midget, whatever the correct term is. I remember the little guy with the turban, the purple turban. He's cool. I can fuck with that guy. And I forget. I don't have no idea what his name is. The little midget, but I love his little, like, how his friendship with Fenix when he's a kid, that he like pretty much like looks after him because he knows both his parents are fucked in the head, man. Like, this guy really does like try to be a good friend to this kid. The father is such a fucking slob, bro. Just the whole thing with him, I get it, it's a circus, he's supposed to look all glammy and shit like that, but the sparkling suit with the sparkling hat, and he has like that stupid blonde wig on that went in that awesome scene with the tattooed woman later on with the acid. What a great scene. But like when she pulls his wig off, This guy is just such a slob. Like, it's so hard looking at him. Oh, and what's her name? The adorable girl. Alma. Alma, right? It's Alma. I'm pretty goddamn sure. The deaf mute, and she like dresses like a mime, has the mime paint and stuff. Her mom's a tattoo woman, and she like pimps her out later on, like when she gets older. Fucked up, man. Like there's a lot of fucked up stuff in this movie. But I let me say this. I implore somebody to go out there and find a film like this movie. Like this is a one of a kind film for me. Like there's no movie like this ever made. Like this is just one of a kind, and I love how all like the circus clowns and stuff, when the tattoo woman appears and like she shows off her body with all the tattoos, they're all just like groveling around her. They're on the ground, like it's great. Like it's so weird. It's and like if I remember right, like like in certain scenes, like when Fenix is like going through like pain and like you could feel this kid's pain. There's like people like playing oboes and like trumpets in the background, like they're a band following him around like a dark cloud. Like it's so out there, this film. Jeez. And speaking of Alma, the girl, I love the whole friendship, romance-esque dynamic between them. When I first saw Let the Right One In, that's what that reminded me of. This movie, the relationship between the two of them. That's how oh what the hell is it? Oscar and oh why can't I think of the girl's name from Let the Right One In? Whatever. The two of them, their dynamic and just their little relationship, their friendship, borderline, but they're too young for it to be like romantic. Reminded me of this movie because it's so well done here. Like you care for both these people immensely. I love when what's his name, Orca or Orgo or something like that. The fat slob father, when he's throwing the throwing knives with the tattooed woman on the dartboard and the target board. Cool. Like always cool to see knife throwing in a movie. So we don't, if I recall, we don't see really anything earlier than this in Fenix's life. But this is like the huge turning point for him when his mother and the church, their church is called Santa Sangre, and they worship this saint whose arms were both cut off and raped in a puddle of her own blood and left for dead. And now they have a pool in their temple that is supposed to be holy blood of their saint. And they're tearing down this temple. So everybody's there. They're singing mariachi music in front of it. It's fucking out there. But it's so beautiful looking, and it sounds great, and it's stylish as hell, and it's such a great scene. And this, I mean, this whole sequence with the temple, because the people are there to knock it down, and they're singing and protesting and not letting them do it. And then you have Fenix there that sees his mom, that it's gonna possibly die here, that she's willing to give her life for this saint in this church that they believe in. And then the priest comes, which is a great scene. Because then he just starts like, she's showing him around, telling around the temple, telling him about their saint and everything that she went through with the arms cut off and the rape and the blood, all that fun stuff. And he ends up going and reaching into the pool, and it's paint, and everyone starts freaking out, like he's saying this is heresy, and that the church will never allow this to be practiced and allow this heresy to happen. And like they're all freaking out, saying no, fuck you. Like, they're not saying that, but like basically like no, this is holy blood. And then they end up tearing down the temple. And the way that he films just Fenix's reactions and stuff, and him just screaming for his mom, and then he ends up running in front of this frigging demolition truck where his mom is protecting the saint. The I don't know, it's like it's not a statue. I almost said something terrible, but it's like supposed to be representative of their saint. That's a good way to put it. Instead of what I was thinking of. Now you'll always wonder. But whole sequence, great. And then you just see how crazy she is. The mom, from her whole temple being torn down like this. And then she goes and she walks in on her husband, the fat slob, with the tattooed woman. And she's ready to fucking kill both of them, man. Lirio, that's the saint's name, the woman that they worship. Lirio. And that's what I mean. Like all the color usage in this, like it, I'm pretty sure. Like I said, I haven't like read up on this much, but I know that Claudio Argento approached somebody to bring this to Jodorowsky, and I'm pretty sure I remember them saying that Claudio said that he wanted to make like an Argento film without Argento. And at certain points in this movie, that's exactly what it feels like. Like some of the color usage and the lighting in this movie rivals some of Argento's best. Like I'll say that. I'll make that. I'll start that argument. Like the lighting and color usage in this film, especially in some integral scenes, rival Argento's best usage of lighting. And so, like in Suspiria and Inferno, it's really amazing the lighting and color usage here. And everyone gives fantastic performances here. I forget who plays what's her name, Katja or something, the mom. She fucking kills it. Like she is terrifying. She is so intimidating at some points in this movie. But like it's it's so hard to describe this to people who haven't seen it, but like you should be watching this if you haven't seen it. But there's just the tone of this movie is so strange. Like there's just weird shit happening like all the time. Like she comes back and catches the her husband with the tattoo woman, and she's picking the knife up and she's like threatening the woman. She's like, "You come near him, I'll kill you." And then she starts trying to stab her husband, and he's fucking like just laughing and holding her, and then like twisting her around and shit. And she's trying to stab him again, and she's grabbing him all sexually, and like it's so weird. And this is there's a band playing in the background, like to them fighting when her trying to kill him. It's a wonder, man. It's a watch. Let me tell you. Oh, when the elephant dies, and Phoenix is crying like, "Don't die, don't die" to the elephant, and his trunks are like bleeding and shit. Like, oh, it's gross, but what an emotional scene, man. Like you really feel for that elephant, and Fenix too, but that elephant. And then they end up putting it in like this huge casket. Then they like throw it off a cliff, and all like the peasants like run down there, and they're like taking apart pieces of the elephant like from in there. They got hammers and shit. They're like banging on it to open it. They're taking out pieces of the elephant's guts. That's what it looks like, and they're throwing it into the crowd of peasants. I keep telling you. Like it looks like one of the tribes from Cannibal Holocaust. All the peasants like grabbing all the elephant remains. Damn. Now this is why very early on I said that he's not really a dirtbag complete father, because he does show a little bit of love for him, for Fenix. Like when after the funeral, like he says stop crying. He's like, come here. He's like, I have something for you. Like it'll make you a man. Then he gives him, and this is hard to watch. This whole scene when he's giving him the eagle tattoo, there's no tattoo gun. It's just his knife, and he puts the print over it and stuff, peels it back, and then he just starts digging the tattoo into his son's chest, and it's a fucking detailed burr, man. It's not just like a wee and you're done. Like there's like feathers and shit. Like there's a lot of carving going on, and like you see a little bit, but like most of it is and perfect choice, just right up on Fenix's face, on him just tearing and trying to hold back all this pain. And then his father, when he's done, he holds him in front of the mirror and he says like, you're a man now, just like me, because he has the same tattoo. It's a disturbing scene, man. Like it's hard to watch a kid like this age going through that type of pain, inflicted by his father, nonetheless. Yeah, man, it's so stylish, this movie. The style to this film is so great. Just all the scenes when they're performing and stuff, and with the circus, just the natural colors there, like that you would expect to see in a circus, so it doesn't feel like real out of place. Like it doesn't seem like, why the fuck is this movie like lit like this? Like all these weird colors. Like it fits it works perfectly because you're in a circus, you're watching a performance, and just the colors of their outfits and banners hanging everywhere, and the lights that are going around like a disco ball, like all of that. This whole performance scene with Fenix doing the magic trick and making Alma disappear, love it, so good. Let me tell you something. The last time you want to be caught by your wife making out with a tattooed woman or anyone is when she's hanging by her fucking hair like 70 feet in the air. That's the last time you want her catching you doing that, because that's what she's doing. Like, she comes up and she's like being held right by her ponytail and stuff, and in the air, and then she's twirling around with a smile on for the performance, and she sees this slobbish fuck making out with the tattooed woman again, and she's done. She's like, "Let me down," screaming and "Let me down," and then they let her down. She runs off, and then we get a phenomenal scene right here. And the changing red and green and yellow lighting and stuff when the mom is working her way backstage and finds them like fucking around in the room. Awesome. And then this scene is just probably the best scene in the movie for me. This and one other one. But she ends up dying just like what the hell is her name? Lyria? Yeah, I think that's it. The saint that they believe in, that they worship, that she had that temple of, that got her arms chopped off. And you see her just come in, she grabs this sting of acid, she comes in and the lights changing and stuff, so beautiful. And she comes in and like, some of these shots are great too. Like, you see just a shot of the woman, the tattooed woman on the bed, like with her legs spread open, and she's got panties on. But then you have a shot from her perspective of the big fat slob, like ready to mount her. And he rips her panties off, and then right when he's about to like go inside her, she takes the acid and she throws it on his dick, all over his dick, and then starts throwing it on the tattooed woman, and she rips her top off, and he ain't having this like at all. And she took one step too far. She ripped off his wig. Ripped off his terrible looking wig, and he's done. He takes her, he grabs her, he puts her up against the throwing knife board, and there's two knives right to the side under her arms, pulls both of them out and just lops her arms off. And it's an amazing top down shot. You see just her like from the sky looking down, her looking up, and her arms fly off into the air. And she's wearing like this awesome like outfit, so like it looks really cool, and the lighting changes, the blood is squirting and spraying out of both sides, and her arms are on the floor. Masterful. It is such an amazing scene. And then this guy, he's done. He's had it. He just walks outside, and when I say blood, like there's a lot of fucking blood coming out of this woman's arms where they used to be. And then there's chickens on the floor pecking at one of her severed arms. Great touch. And then this guy's walking out, the father, naked, butt naked, holding his bloody, acidified dick. And he just says, "I can't live like this." He don't say that out loud, but I'm guessing that's what he's thinking. And he just takes his knife and slits his throat, and fucking blood spurting everywhere, falls to the ground. And again, there's just a mariachi band just playing on the corner, like right behind him. No one seems alarmed. Like, this happens all the time, right in the middle of the street. And all of this is happening right in front of Fenix while he's locked in the trailer, because his mom locked him in the trailer before she went to go kill the two. This kid had to see all of this. Oh my God, man. Like, then there's just wild dogs too, like sniffing around the dad's body. The mariachi people just keep playing. Nothing's wrong. There's just a dead dude right 10 feet from you. It's so crazy. I love it. Then we get a heartbreaking scene, man, when Fenix is looking through the trailer in his magician outfit, and the tattooed woman on Alma, she takes Alma off into their car and just drives away, and Alma's looking out the back like with her mind pained, like all sad, and he's looking this way like, "No, come back." Dude, this kid already lifelong therapy just for this, just for everything we've seen so far. So in case things haven't been weird yet, I've never seen anything like this in a movie ever. So someone let me know if they've seen this somewhere else. But we flash forward back to Fenix as an adult in the asylum, and a lot of the people there are like Down syndrome and stuff. Like, you can tell them with the face. I didn't mean it like that, but whatever. They're all retarded in some way, and they end up going to a movie, and this pimp just comes up to the group of them. Like, first of all, they get left alone there. Like, I don't know about that. Like, they're from an asylum. The people just drop them off, and they're like, all right, enjoy the movie. Like, we'll be here to pick you up. And that's it. They just let them go inside. A bunch of Downsy people, and this guy who's so tragically fucked up. I don't get it. But that's not the part I've never seen in a movie. This pimp, right? He says, yo, you don't want to see this movie and stuff. It'll wreck your brain. And he's like, yo, take a sniff of this. He pulls out Coke. And he just takes his little spoon chain and he starts giving all the Down syndrome people bumps of Coke. And then they're like walking down the street and there's more mariachi music and shit. And they're like dancing like the I have never seen a scene like this in another film. Please, somebody let me know if you've ever seen a bunch of people with Down syndrome getting high on Coke and walking down the streets in Mexico with a mariachi band, because I don't think it exists anywhere else. And for as surreal as this movie is, and avant-garde, if you want to call it that, it's still a very just simplistic, straightforward story for the most part. And it's a good story. Like, it really is. The script is great here. Like, this whole dive into Fenix's life and trauma. It's great without all the weird shit. That just like adds to it, if it works for you, because this movie definitely don't work for everybody. Not only does this pimp get these Down syndrome people high on cocaine, but he also brings them to this big woman prostitute and says, heck, how much for the 5 of them? She's like, $20. Alright, I'm sorry. Yeah, that just seems way too cheap. But then again, who knows what it's like in Mexico? And assumably, she goes off and fucks the Down syndrome people. He's not part of it, I don't think, because then they just show the doctor the next morning. He's back in the asylum, and he's like, hey, you're in a good mood, and he just like gets up, he friggin' like somersaults and like dances around, swings from a little trapeze thing that they have in his cell. He seems in a great mood. And then he hears the cries of his mother, and he ends up sneaking out of his room at the asylum and sees his armless mother, and ends up walking down the street with her. So this is where the little bit of the supernatural kicks in. Oh, I can't say enough about the lighting and the color usage, man. With the whole party going on in the streets and stuff, with the yellow lighting. When Alma, now she's older, and we see that the tattoo woman is like a prostitute now. She's a full-on prostitute, and she's like pimping out Alma when she has like this guy there, this black guy or Spanish dude, and whatever he looks like it. He's trying to like fucking rape her, and the mom even says some evil shit, man. She's like, she's a deaf mute, so like nobody will even hear her. That is terrible. It's your daughter. Jesus, man. And then she runs, and then this weird ass scene. There's this guy in the middle of the street, and he's looking at her, and great lighting and stuff on him, like purple lighting. But he takes his ear and he rips it off of his head. And then he starts like trying to shove it in her mouth, and she fucking runs away, grabs a blanket, and she fucking falls asleep on top of a truck. Man, the life that both of these kids lived. This is just another fucking amazing scene in this movie, man. This feels very Suspiria to me. Again, because we have the percussive, like, conga jungle music playing, when we have the POV, and we have the killer, which I don't know why I'm keeping this secret, but whatever. Like, she comes in, you see the nails that are painted, and she takes the throwing knife and throws it right into the chest of the tattooed woman. And she throws this knife into her chest, and then is back so close to her to grab the knife out within a split second. Like, throws the knife, and then boom, she's there grabbing the knife out, and then she's carving her back open, and blood's everywhere. It is fantastic with the red Argento lighting. Like, it looks so good. And then she just gets stabbed repeatedly, until she finally just gets in the neck. Blood sprays out. Phenomenal scene too. Like this, and when the mom gets the arms chopped off. Amazing scenes. I love that edit there, actually. Like when she gets it finally through the neck and the blood sprays out, and then it just, the music goes like, ha! Then it just cuts to Alma waking up suddenly on the truck, like the next morning. That's cool. Like as soon as her mother dies, she awakens up. That's a cool edit. And then Alma comes in, finds her mom, and she is mutilated. Dude, this corpse is so blood soaked and mutilated. It looks fantastic. Oh, then we see Fenix dressed up as a magician as an adult, like he used to as a kid, and he sees his little midget friend, and he looks up at him. He's, oh, Mr. Fenix. Love the little dwarf. All right, the whole scene when I don't even know what this means. When we have what's his name? When we have Fenix behind his mom, like he goes into a burlesque show after he sees the dwarf, and he's has his fingers painted, and she's missing her arms, but he's behind her, pretending to be her arms as she's doing like this dance and shit. It's excellently choreographed. Like it, and it looks so just weird, man, and like surreal. It's just the way that it's shot. It looks so out there, but it's fucking beautiful. Like the dress she's wearing, the blue, and just the look in her eyes, man. This woman, like she's got a fucking death stare. This woman is, I told you, she's terrifying and intimidating in this movie, the mom, Concha. Absolute death stare. But then we find out it's not the mom. It's some woman. And he's using his hands and she's doing her act. So he's imagining that it's the mom. Seems logical to a completely illogical movie. And the whole rest of her show is just, again, it's just out there. Like this is where the movie slows down a little bit for me. Like this is where hour to 2 hour movie, like halfway in, it does slow a little bit, but nothing too like crazy. Like it's nothing that like it's like, oh, come on already, to pick up. Like it's all very visually pleasing. It just slows a bit for me. I remember that, but the rest of her show is just bonkers, man. This music from the score playing right now, it sounds, and only people who are Souls players are gonna even know what the hell I'm talking about, but it sounds very similar to Maiden Estraya's boss theme music from Demon Souls. It sounds very similar. I wonder if Miyazaki is a fan of this movie. See, it picks right back up. Love how he's dressed like his father with the whole shiny fucking suit and the hat and everything like that. And then he's throwing the knives at the burlesque girl. And he's envisioning the tattoo girl from when he was a kid, seeing his father do it. So well done. Love this whole scene and the way this ends. Great. Yeah, so he sees Concha, his mom, come in, and she's just, dude, I can't say enough about the set dressing and the outfits. Everything in this movie just looks great. It's such a visually stimulating film. That's one great thing. But she shows up and she's like, this girl's defiled you with her lust. Kill her. Like I'm not asking you. I'm ordering you. Like with my hands. And she gets behind him and in front of him, and then like he throws the knife and it goes right into her chest, and she starts bleeding out. It looks great. But this is what I was saying. Like you feel so bad for Fenix. Like you feel terrible for this guy. Like he just killed a woman. But after everything that we've seen that he's been through and the life that he's lived, can you blame him? Yes, but also no, because he's fucking severely mentally ill. This guy's seen his fucking mom and stuff like that, and he's killing people. So you can't forgive that, of course, but like it really walks that line so well of making you really feel for this guy, despite that he starts doing terrible things. Oh, I love that purple car with the brown top, tan top. I don't know what type of car it was. Beautiful though. I don't know why, but I love the fact that he paints her body, her corpse white. over the knife wound and everything, her whole body white while he like before he buries her. I don't know why, but that's so cool to me. Like he's trying to wipe away what he did, like paint over it. And it also, I think it's kind of cool that it could play back to the whole holy blood in the Santa Sangre in the temple with the paint. The priest said it was just paint. So we get some more paint symbolism here. Him playing the piano, again, like with his mom, like as using his hands as her hands and stuff. All that's cool. And then him freaking out because while that's happening, he's seeing from the past, like her severed arm on the floor with the chickens, like pecking at it. But now that I'm thinking about it, he didn't see that, right? He wasn't backstage when Concha went back and poured the acid on dude's dick, and then she got her arms cut off and the chickens were pecking at him. He wasn't back there. So I wonder why he's seeing that. Like, it doesn't have to make sense. And just everything, seeing him, and we have some Jesus symbolism, or like crucified in the temple. In the temple, he's seeing the temple get crushed and demolished and everything. The way that, oh man, the way that Jodorowsky just handle and the actor here, I can't think of his name, but the way both of them together, just through his acting and Jodorowsky's directing, masterful. Like, this is such a great dive in. Then this is when it starts getting really weird, because then he's making out with his mother and stuff, and then dressed up like the Invisible Man while watching, like, the Invisible Man, or like he's mirroring it, or is it a recording? No, he's mirroring it. Yeah, it really starts going off the rails out there. Then he ends up meeting the tranny. And hear me out. So this isn't like a transgender person like today and stuff, and like, or you get procedure and they build it from scratch now. This is like old school tranny, like where it's just an old dude with a wig. Like that's exactly what this is. And he's putting on a show, a magic show for him, and the curtains look awesome. That's one thing. The color on the curtains, awesome stuff. And the whole little Egyptian coffin behind him for his trick, that looks cool too. And he's got his little buddy here, his little dwarf friend is his assistant. All is well in Fenix's life. And his mom appears in the casket and again, kill this bitch or him or whatever. And she's just like Cleopatra, looks cool again. But I know I'm saying weird a lot, but it's really out there. Like, this is one of the weirdest movies I've ever seen. And for some reason, the actor here, his performance, it reminds me vaguely, maybe more than a little vaguely, of Dennis Christopher's performance in Fade to Black from 1980. For some reason, maybe he looks a little like him, like in the face, I guess, and just how that movie is just like a whole character study into his character and everything. Same thing here. I don't know. I'm getting vibes of that this time. He attacks the tranny and fucking dude manhandles him at first, and then he ends up killing him. What the fuck ever, yo. Hey, it's Memorial Day on Monday. Happy Memorial Day early, guys. And then Alma shows up at some decrepit house. I'm not sure where the hell she is, but she starts putting on her mime paint right when he's painting the tranny's body in the grave, and then we get a great shot, man, with all like the bodies coming up, the goats. And there's a lot of bodies that are coming up out of these graves. So is this implying that he killed all these women? Because we only see the two so far that I remember. So I don't know what all this is about, besides just from looking weird. And we see some woman painted white, like how he paints his corpses, walking a horse, like a peace horse, like that has like tie-dye paint all over it. Like it's a trip, man. And they're all naked, but they're painted white, and they got like wedding veils on. Some have hairy bushes and some don't. Just an observation. It's right in your face. So it's not like I could not comment on it. Oh, is it the old temple that was knocked down? Because we just saw Lyria, the doll or whatever of the saint that they worship there at Santa Sangre. And then he meets up with Alma with all her little mime stuff, and she's dressed all pretty, and they finally can reunite as they reach their hands out way too fucking slowly. Like, just embrace already. And Concha appears with that fucking amazing death stare, and she starts ordering him to kill Alma. No, he ain't doing that. He loves Alma. We all love Alma. And this whole end is great. And the score is fantastic while he's struggling with the two knives, walking towards Alma, and you see the mother in the background missing her arms right in front of the statue that's behind her, missing the arms. Looks so good. And yes, it does look kind of ridiculous, like with him with his hands again through her sleeves, and he's holding the knives, but they're walking like with her in front and him behind, like he's being controlled by his memories of his mother and the guilt and all the crazy shit he lived through and blah blah blah. It looks ridiculous, but it still looks great, if that makes sense. Like, it's just totally ridiculous what's taking place on screen, but it works. It just works. And Fenix ends up resisting and ends up stabbing his mother in the chest. And then great shot of her standing there, missing her arms, with the knife in her, with the candles all behind her. This is one of those situations I've said in the past when candles don't bother me. If it's in like a fucking temple like this, or it's a ritualistic ceremony, have all the candles you want. If it's just a regular situation, you got more than 2 or 3, fuck you, too many candles. But the shot of her standing there in front of the candles and the Lyria statue, doll, whatever, looks great. Then Alma shows him the ultimate revelation that shows him mom's body. Mom's been dead, and this has all been him. And then 4 clowns come out of nowhere, and then they're like holding him, and then like, oh no, it's the mannequin that she shows her. That's right, not the body. The body be mad gone by now. But then you see a flashback of the piano scene, and he's using his hands around this mannequin of his mom, and it's so out there, and they're going back and forth like with the mannequin of the mom, and again the sad painted face clowns, and they throw her body out a window. Man, this was a good pick to rewatch. Yeah, this was a good rewatch. But he realizes the sad fact that he committed all these murders himself, and that he's just this fucked up in the head from his life. I feel so bad for this character, man. Like, you feel depressed a bit at the end of this movie, especially for him and Alma too. But then it seems like they get to go off together, right? That's what I always figured at the end here, that they just take off together, and maybe he gets better somehow. I don't know, but I totally forgot about this at the very end here. So the clowns and shit, and then we see them around the fire, the mannequin and stuff that's being burned, and Alma starts taking off his fingernails to, I guess, represent that he's no longer controlled by his mother. And then the dwarf is there, and they like embrace a bit, and then they kiss. And then like he just like bye, and he pieces out, and then it's just him and Alma. I don't know what that was about. Oh, that's right, they get arrested. I told you I haven't seen this in forever. That's right, they come out after peeling his nails off and everything like that, and the kiss with the dwarf. Then they end up leaving the place, and we get a nice little cool final shot of the mannequin of the mom on like burnt and shit like that. And I like how Alma does like the little bird fly away thing, like for his tattoo, like he did to her when he was young. Cool little circling back to that. And then they go outside, and the cops are there. And they just put their hands up, and then when he puts his hands up, he realizes that it's his hands. It's not his mother's anymore. And then the movie just ends. So if you haven't seen the movie and you watched all this, I mean, you gotta still see it. Like, me talking about it does not do it justice. This is just an experience of a film that definitely will not work for everybody. But I think this is masterfully made and masterfully done. But it's just one of those movies that I can't watch too often. Like every 5 years, maybe, something like that. I don't even know the last time I saw this movie. But excellent rewatch. This was a great pick. So very glad to rewatch this movie. So, Santa Sangre, 1989, and I will try to have something else up later tonight, if not tomorrow. So, take care, guys.